That's kind of the difference. Yes.
I'd like to know exactly how many signatures, emails, and things you need to tell city council for them to understand that we want this kept in the park when it was originally set up. That was in 1991.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
those people
Which
who
would
had
tell you
time,
that's,
there was
what,
a lot of
30 years
water-
old?
There was a lot of waterfront property available for people. Well, now that's the only piece left between Hilton and Lucas Creek. I live on the Ward River, so I know what it's like to live on the river. And I want it for all the kids growing up. I talked to teachers at Hector Roads Academy. They want to have a waterfront they can take their students to. They have to go to Yorktown. I don't understand why it can't be approved as a park now. Everything else can be done later. It just makes no sense. I've been out getting petitions here and there. Everybody says they want it. I had two people and they both said they want it in real estate. They did not want it.
And I
It's
appreciate
just
your comments.
crazy.
I think I've heard it before at other meetings, and I don't want this meeting to get just about the city farm issue. I can tell you, for me, it's not about petitions, it's about us going through a process to determine what is in the best interest of the city. I realize you have 6,000, and I realize how you feel, but we are responsible for 183,000.
That's right.
Absolutely. And that's just in terms of, and I respect your position. I've heard it. I think council heard it loud and clear, but they also hope that you have heard that they want to go through a process because they want to know what the possibilities are. There may be some combination of a park. That's an awful lot of property. And you can get a really good idea, but when you go on a boat and look at the property, that is an extensive amount of property. What makes sense, even if they decided to make a park? There are still some things that you have to do, that we would have to do, we'd have to invest money. If council said tomorrow they wanted it to be a park, it's not just as simple as opening the gates and saying, here we are. But council has been quite clear, and I don't disagree with them. I totally agree that we need to do a thorough review of it. And while I appreciate and will take all the feedback I get from the city farm folks, we are going to go through a process. I don't know how much more clearly we can say that. Yes, ma'am.
I understand your process and I respect that, but as far as like the citizens of Newport News, what would be our next step as far as getting this to be something that's important that we can figure out how we're going to try to save this property? I understand your process, but I don't know, I can't speak for anyone else here, but as far as I'm concerned, what is it that we would need to do next to try to save this farm park? I understand it has to go through city council, but as far as we go petitions, we're doing all this extra stuff, and it's like, basically, are you saying that doesn't matter?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there will be a process, and as part of that process, we are committed and will engage the public to get feedback from the public.
So what would constitute?
In terms of what that next step, in terms of that process is. So we have thrown out there that we are working with the American Planning Association, who will come in at minimal cost and work with us and have, some people hate the term, but charrettes or different opportunities for the public to come in and talk about what they would like to see in terms of a park. We've heard everything from, we'd like to see a park, but a restaurant would be okay. Maybe we could have weddings there. Maybe we could have, we've got to pull all this information together because as it was made quite clear, this is some of the last property that we have. That is absolutely something, and we've got to make sure whatever we do makes sense for the community. And while I said I appreciate and will listen to everybody.
Okay, so what would constitute?
Excuse me.
I wasn't finished, excuse me.
No, excuse me. We're going to let her finish her presentation because if we don't have a lot of time, no disrespect, but we don't have a lot of time, if we spend it all on Riverview Farm Park, she won't have an opportunity.
Well, I wasn't trying to spend it all on Riverview Farm Park, but I have just as much of a right to speak my mind and come here for my issue just as anyone else does, and I wasn't finished.
Yes,
That
you
is
did, but if you would let her finish her presentation with them.
I was just going to finish up my conversation and I was going to go. My whole point was just basically asking as far as what would constitute this to be something that's important for the community, what would constitute that? I'm just trying to figure this out.
I would not characterize it as saying this is not important just because council hasn't taken action on it.
Right.
It absolutely is important. It's extremely important for the future of the city. I don't know how other many ways to say there's going to be a process that we're going to follow. At the very end, it could be a park of some sort. There could be other opportunities. But we need to know what those opportunities are, and I am not in a position to say what those opportunities are.
Right.
So, again, there will be, as we go through this, more than ample time for people to be engaged. But I need to make sure that it's a cross-section of folks. I need to make sure, people aren't gonna wanna hear it, that we know from developers to citizens, to business people, I need to get that kind of feedback.
Well, developers and business people are gonna want it because they want to talk about it.
Well, and I can't presuppose that.
Oh, come on.
Could I ask Sheila McAllister a question?
Excuse me.
Well,